Commander Marcus Riggs stood at rigid attention before the Galactic Military Academy's board of directors, his weathered face betraying none of the anxiety churning in his gut. The first human class was about to begin their training, and he'd stake his career on their success. "These humans," rasped Director Nexos, his crystalline form refracting the chamber's light, "they come from a death world. How can we trust them?" "With respect, Director," Riggs replied, "that's precisely why you should trust us. Earth forged us into survivors." The Academy's training coordinator, a towering insectoid named Vextar, clicked her mandibles skeptically. "Your species has barely achieved faster-than-light travel. The Academy's standards have stood for millennia." Riggs suppressed a smile. If only they knew what humans could do when challenged. The first class of 20 recruits waited in the arrival bay below, ready to shatter every preconception these aliens held. Training instructor ZYLPH, a gelatinous being, oozed forward. "Very well. Let's begin with basic physical assessments. Though I must warn you, our facilities are calibrated for advanced species." The gathering of humans in the arrival bay defied alien expectations. They came from diverse backgrounds, former military, athletes, academics, but shared the determined glint in their eyes that Riggs knew well. "Listen up," he addressed them. "You're about to make history. Show them what humanity can do." The first challenge was the gravity chamber. ZYLPH set it to 3 times Earth standard, expecting the humans to struggle. Instead, recruit James Wong dropped and started doing push-ups. "This is like training back home," he called out cheerfully. Recruit Priya Patel joined him, adding clapping between each rep. "Come on everyone, let's warm up properly." ZYLPH's translucent form rippled with disbelief as the humans treated lethal gravity as a workout opportunity. But this was just the beginning. The obstacle course proved even more revealing. Designed to test various alien physiologies, it featured acid pools, plasma barriers, and anti-gravity zones. The aliens expected careful navigation. Instead, the humans turned it into a race. "Check this out," shouted recruit Diana Martinez, using momentum to swing between anti-gravity bubbles like they were monkey bars. Behind her, Thomas O'Neill practically danced through the plasma barriers, his movements precise and efficient. "Impossible," muttered Vextar, antennae twitching. "They're treating deadly hazards like a playground." Riggs watched with pride as his recruits demolished course records. They didn't just complete challenges, they innovated, found shortcuts, and seemed to genuinely enjoy themselves. The day's final test involved survival gear assessment. The Academy's standard equipment was built for the most hostile environments in known space. The humans examined it with professional interest, but their suggestions left the alien instructors speechless. "This atmospheric processor is good," noted recruit Chen Wei, "but have you considered adding a caffeine synthesizer?" "For emergencies, of course. And the shelter could double as a mobile gym," added Martinez. "Just saying." As the day drew to a close, Riggs faced the board again. Director Nexos's crystalline surface had developed several stress fractures. "This is unprecedented," the director admitted. "We may need to recalibrate our expectations." "No," Riggs countered, "you need to understand something fundamental about humans. We don't just survive challenges, we thrive on them. Every obstacle is an opportunity. Every limit is meant to be pushed." He gestured to the training grounds where his recruits were still practicing, sharing techniques and competing good-naturedly. "This isn't even their final form." The alien directors exchanged worried glances. They'd prepared for dangerous Deathworlders, but instead found something far more terrifying: humans who treated galactic-level challenges as fun. "Tomorrow," ZYLPH announced, their gelatinous form quivering slightly, "we begin combat training." Riggs couldn't hide his grin this time. Tomorrow would be even more interesting. The combat simulation chamber hummed to life as training instructor ZYLPH initiated the day's exercises. The massive spherical room, capable of generating any battle scenario from across the galaxy, was the Academy's pride. Today, it would become humanity's playground. Combat assessment begins with basic weapons proficiency, ZYLPH announced, their gelatinous form hovering near the control panel. We'll start with standard-issue plasma rifles. Diana Martinez hefted the alien weapon, her eyes gleaming with professional interest. Nice balance. Reminds me of the particle accelerators we used in Special Forces training. The targets materialized, holographic enemies at varying distances. The alien instructors expected a careful, methodical approach. Instead, they got a master class in human combat dynamics. Wong dropped into a perfect prone position, picking off distant targets with surgical precision. O'Neill and Patel worked in tandem, developing covering fire patterns that left the alien observers speechless. Martinez, meanwhile, discovered she could overcharge the plasma rifle for area of effect shots. Fascinating adaptation, muttered Vextar, making rapid notes. They're innovating weapon uses we never considered. The simulation escalated to close-quarters combat. The humans faced off against holographic elite warriors from across the galaxy. The aliens expected them to struggle against opponents with superior strength, speed, or natural weapons. They were wrong. Chen Wei, the quietest of the group, moved like water through the enemy ranks. His martial arts background translated perfectly to alien combat styles. Their anatomy might be different, he explained between bouts, but physics is universal. Check this out. Patel called out, using a larger opponent's momentum to throw them into three others. These gravity variations actually make judo more effective. Commander Riggs observed from the control room, sharing knowing looks with his recruits. Earth's variety of combat styles, developed over millennia of human conflict, proved devastatingly effective against standardized galactic warfare techniques. Enough. ZYLPH's voice quivered with equal parts awe and concern. Let's proceed to the final combat trial, the Omega scenario. The chamber transformed into a war-torn cityscape. Holographic civilians fled in panic as enemy forces advanced. The objective: protect the civilians while neutralizing the threat. It was designed to test both combat skills and ethical decision-making. The humans' response left the alien instructors stunned once again. Wong, Patel, civilian evacuation. Use the maintenance tunnels we spotted earlier, Martinez took command naturally. O'Neill, Wei, you're our mobile defense team. Keep them busy while I set up a kill zone. What followed was a masterclass in urban warfare. The humans didn't just complete the objective, they revolutionized it. Wong discovered that local architecture created perfect sniper positions. Patel organized the civilians into an efficient evacuation chain. O'Neill and Wei turned construction equipment into improvised barriers. But it was Martinez who delivered the coup de grace. She had noted how the simulation's power grid interfaced with the enemy's energy shields. One precisely placed shot created a cascade failure that disabled half the enemy force. Impossible, Vextar whispered. The scenario, they solved it in minutes. Director Nexos's crystalline form vibrated with agitation. Commander Riggs, your species, you claimed Earth forged you into survivors. But this goes beyond survival. Riggs nodded, watching his recruits celebrate their success with their characteristic enthusiasm. On Earth, we learned early that it's not enough to just survive. We had to adapt, innovate, overcome. Every challenge became an opportunity to improve. And the way they work together, ZYLPH observed, it's like they share one mind. No, Riggs corrected, they share one crucial trait, the human drive to excel. Alone, we're tough. Together, we're unstoppable. As the simulation powered down, the recruits were already discussing improvements for their next run. The alien instructors exchanged worried glances. They had just witnessed humanity's approach to combat training, and it was both beautiful and terrifying. Tomorrow, Nexos announced, stress fractures spreading across his crystalline surface, we begin tactical and strategic exercises. The humans' eager grins suggested tomorrow would bring even more surprises. The tactical training center resembled a massive chessboard crossed with a war room. Holographic star maps floated in the air, displaying complex military scenarios that had stumped the greatest strategists in the galaxy. Director Nexos watched nervously as the humans entered, their eyes already scanning the room with dangerous interest. Today's exercises will test your strategic thinking, Vextar announced. We begin with the Battle of Centauri Prime, a historical conflict that remains unsolved after 3 centuries. The scenario materialized, a complex orbital defense network, overwhelming enemy forces, and limited resources. The solution was supposed to take days of careful analysis. The humans took one look and started laughing. This is just like that tower defense game I used to play, Wong commented, studying the holographic fortifications. Anyone else seeing the pattern? Martinez was already moving holographic ships across the display. The enemy's formation, they're using standard attack algorithms. Predictable. What followed was a masterclass in human strategic thinking. Where alien commanders saw rigid tactical doctrine, the humans saw opportunities. They didn't just solve the scenario, they revolutionized it. If we reconfigure the defense satellites like this, Patel demonstrated, her hands dancing through the holographic controls, we create a gravity slingshot effect. Their own momentum becomes their weakness. O'Neill contributed his own insight, and look at their supply lines. Classic mistake, too focused on efficiency, not enough redundancy. One surgical strike here. The alien instructors watched in growing amazement as the humans dismantled the supposedly unwinnable scenario in under an hour. Their solution wasn't just effective, it was elegant in its simplicity. Impossible, Nexos muttered, his crystalline form developing new stress patterns. That scenario was designed by our finest military minds. That's the problem, Riggs explained. Your finest minds think in straight lines. Humans? We think around corners. The next challenge involved logistics, managing resources during a planetary evacuation. The humans treated it like a speed run of a resource management game. Wei discovered that civilian ships could be retrofitted into makeshift medical transports. Martinez calculated optimal evacuation routes by treating panic patterns like fluid dynamics. You're treating this like a game, ZYLPH observed, their gelatinous form rippling with concern. Games are how we learn, Wong replied, not looking up from his calculations. Every game is a simulation. Every simulation is practice for reality. The final test of the day was the dreaded mirror scenario, a tactical puzzle where every action was reflected by the enemy, making victory seemingly impossible. The aliens expected frustration. Instead, they got innovation. If every action is mirrored, Martinez reasoned, then we make their reflection work for us. She set up a complex series of maneuvers that turned the enemy's responses into a trap of their own making. It's like boxing, O'Neill explained to the bewildered instructors. Sometimes you throw a punch knowing it'll be blocked, because the block itself creates an opening. By day's end, the humans had broken every record, solved every puzzle, and completely rewritten the tactical handbook. The alien instructors huddled in conference, their voices worried. They don't just solve problems, Vextar observed. They redefine them. Every challenge we present becomes a new opportunity for innovation. Riggs watched his recruits excitedly discussing their solutions, already planning improvements. That's humanity's greatest strength, he said. We never see limits, only possibilities. As the humans filed out, still debating tactical theories, Director Nexos made an announcement that sent shivers through his crystalline form. Tomorrow, we test their response to true crisis scenarios. The humans' eager grins suggested they were already looking forward to it. The crisis simulation chamber was the Academy's most advanced facility. Inside, recruits faced their worst fears, impossible choices, and scenarios that had broken even veteran commanders. As the humans entered, the alien instructors prepared for standard psychological responses: fear, hesitation, breakdown. Instead, they got problem-solving at its finest. The first scenario: a failing reactor on a populated space station. Standard procedure allowed evacuating either the civilian or military sectors before meltdown. The humans took one look and rejected both options. The reactor's quantum matrix is similar to Earth's fusion designs, Wei noted, hands flying over the controls. Martinez, remember that cooling system hack from the Neptune incident? Martinez grinned. Already on it. Wong, we'll need those maintenance shaft routes you mapped yesterday. Within minutes, they had improvised a solution that saved everyone. They transformed the station's waste recycling system into an emergency coolant network, buying enough time for a complete evacuation. Impossible, ZYLPH muttered. That scenario was designed to be unwinnable. No such thing, O'Neill replied, already preparing for the next challenge. Just problems we haven't solved yet. The next test involved diplomatic crisis management. A delicate peace negotiation threatened to collapse into interstellar war. The simulation was programmed with thousands of cultural variables, making success statistically impossible. Patel approached it like a social media manager handling a viral crisis. Look at the communication patterns, she explained. Every species has their equivalent of viral trends. We can use that. The humans orchestrated a cultural phenomenon that united both sides against a common challenge, transforming potential warfare into cooperative problem-solving. The alien instructors watched in stunned silence as centuries of diplomatic doctrine were rewritten in hours. The final crisis pushed even human ingenuity to its limits: simultaneous disasters across multiple star systems, each requiring immediate attention. The scenario was designed to teach the harsh reality that sometimes, losses were inevitable. Divide and conquer won't work here, Martinez announced. We need to change the game. What followed was a masterclass in human creativity. The recruits created a network of civilian response teams, turning victims into problem solvers. They repurposed entertainment broadcasting networks for emergency coordination. Every challenge became an opportunity for community engagement. They're not just solving the crisis, Vextar observed, antennae twitching in amazement. They're building something new from it. When the simulation ended, not only had they prevented all projected casualties, but they'd established a sustainable emergency response system that improved on existing protocols. Director Nexos called an emergency board meeting. This goes beyond mere training success, he declared, stress fractures spreading across his surface. They're redefining our understanding of crisis management. That's what humans do, Riggs explained. We don't just overcome crises, we learn from them, adapt, grow stronger. Every challenge makes us better. The alien instructors studied their data, realizing a profound truth: humanity's greatest strength wasn't their physical capabilities or even their strategic minds. It was their ability to turn any situation, no matter how dire, into an opportunity for advancement. Tomorrow, Nexos announced, his voice carrying a mix of fear and anticipation, we begin the final phase of evaluation. The humans exchanged excited glances. They weren't just ready for tomorrow, they were looking forward to it. And that, perhaps, was what terrified their instructors most of all. The final evaluation chamber stood empty, its pristine walls hiding the most advanced simulation technology in known space. Director Nexos gathered every senior instructor for what would either be a triumph or disaster, the humans' final test. Today's challenge, Nexos announced, his crystalline form gleaming under harsh lights, is different. You'll face an actively adaptive AI that learns from your responses. No one has ever completed this test. Martinez stepped forward, eyes bright with anticipation. An AI that learns? Perfect. We learn too. The simulation began with a standard military scenario, but quickly evolved into something unprecedented. As the humans adapted, the AI adapted faster. Every solution sparked a new problem. Every victory created a new challenge. Pattern recognition, Wong called out, dodging a simulated attack. The AI's learning, but it's learning what we want it to learn. The humans weren't just fighting the simulation, they were teaching it. Every move was calculated to shape the AI's responses, turning the challenge into a dance of mutual adaptation. Remarkable, Vextar whispered. They're treating an unbeatable opponent as a training partner. O'Neill and Patel developed a series of feints designed to program specific responses into the AI. Wei analyzed its learning patterns, finding exploitable rhythms in its evolution. Martinez coordinated their efforts, turning individual insights into group strategy. Now, she shouted at the critical moment. The humans moved in perfect synchronization, executing a complex maneuver that turned the AI's adaptive capabilities against itself. The simulation froze, caught in a paradox of its own learning. Silence fell over the chamber. The instructors stared at their readings in disbelief. The humans had not only beaten the unbeatable test, they'd fundamentally changed how it worked. Impossible, ZYLPH trembled. The test, they've improved it. Commander Riggs stepped forward, pride evident in his stance. That's humanity's true gift to the galaxy. We don't just overcome challenges, we transform them into opportunities for everyone. Director Nexos called an emergency session of the Academy's board. The humans' performance demanded more than mere graduation, it required a complete reassessment of galactic training standards. These humans, Nexos declared, have demonstrated capabilities beyond our comprehension. But more importantly, they've shown us our own limitations. We must evolve. The board's decision was unanimous. The humans would not just graduate, they would become instructors themselves, helping to reshape the Academy's entire training program. Consider this, Riggs addressed the board. You feared humans because we come from a death world. But that harsh environment didn't just make us strong, it made us teachers. Every challenge we overcame became a lesson we could share. As the humans celebrated their success, their alien instructors watched with new understanding. They had expected dangerous Deathworlders, but instead found something far more valuable, beings who turned survival into an art form, who transformed challenges into opportunities, and who were eager to share these gifts with the galaxy. The galaxy will never be the same, Vextar observed. Riggs smiled. That's the point. Change is what humans do best. As the first class of human recruits prepared to take their places as instructors, a new era dawned for the Galactic Military Academy. The humans had not just completed their training, they had redefined what was possible. And somewhere in the vast expanse of space, other Deathworlders were about to learn an important lesson: never underestimate humanity's ability to turn any challenge into an opportunity for growth.